Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert was asked on Pardon My Take this week about how much the Eagles have run the Tush Push QB sneak and if defenses have a problem with it. And Goedert responded with this: "Oh, all of the time. They call us a word I cannot use on TV," and that's my quote. "And you're soft. Tell us, run a real play." And I'm like, it is. Don't get us to 3rd and 1. Don't get us to 4th and 1. Like, stop us. You know what I mean? Now, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles used the Tush Push 31 times last season, by far the most in the NFL. And the next closest QB was Josh Allen with 9. Of those 31 plays, Philly converted 29 of them for first downs, meaning that it worked 94% of the time. Now, Jeff, what are your first reactions to these quotes?
Yeah, I mean, I think that any implication that Nick Sirianni's offense is soft is definitely undermining everything that he is about and everything he does. You can say strategic, sure. You can say manipulative, fine. But soft, no way is Nick Sirianni soft in any capacity.
Yeah, not at all. Now, Bill, what about you? Now, the QB sneak just works for them. What makes it so effective?
It's such a fascinating situation, and I think it's one of the biggest stories of this offseason.
Yeah.
It really changed the way the Eagles played offense last year, and it played the way opposing teams played defense against them. Because typically on 3rd down, there are teams who will play their defenders at the sticks, you know, wait for you to check down, rally, make a tackle, and the other team's going to punt on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. Well, the Eagles were not punting on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. They were running the Tush Push, or they were running something off of the Tush Push, and they were succeeding upwards of 90% of the time. And you got to figure there were teams who looked at what the Eagles did and thought, you know, that'd be nice. Maybe we should have a plan that works 94% of the time. And now it's not as simple as just looking at the tape once or twice and copying it. But over the course of the offseason, you can study the timing. Maybe you bring in, say, a coach who happened to coach in Philadelphia last year like the Colts did. There's going to be an opportunity for teams to take this sneak and use it themselves, and that's going to change the way defenses around the league have to play on 3rd and 4th down. So I wouldn't be shocked if we saw, you know, a half dozen, maybe even 10 teams this year using the sneak either with a quarterback or, if they want to protect their quarterback, with another player. We saw the Chiefs use their backup tight end on sneaks in years past because they don't want to use Patrick Mahomes on sneaks. With some sort of athlete under center and a big push forward, teams are going to be converting more often on 4th down.
Mina, does the change in offensive coordinator, does that change a lot of your expectations for Hurts?
No, not really. Yeah, losing Shane Steichen, who's now, of course, the head coach of the Colts, it hurts. But for the most part, there's not a lot of turnover with this Eagles offense. Most of the turnover happened on the other side of the ball. Guard, a couple new running backs coming in. But I expect the offense to look the same, both in terms of the personnel, but also the approach. They really hit on something, especially last year, I think, with that power spread offense, the emphasis on the RPOs, obviously, credible group of skill players in offensive line. I'm not worried. Brian Johnson steps into a great situation. Where he has big shoes to fill, and I think where he will be tested, is replicating not Steichen's offense per se, but his ability to game plan for different defenses. This is one thing I thought he did exceptionally well last year. Every time the Eagles played a different defense, it felt like they would find their weakness and just exploit it over and over, and you would see pretty heavy variance. There would be some games where they would hit on a certain run concept and keep hammering it. Some games where they would place a greater stress on RPOs or air it out, yada, yada. The point is, a lot of that was, I think, because of Steichen. So I think for Johnson, that is the big challenge. It's game planning around the talent he does have, which, of course, is prodigious.
Yeah, absolutely. Plenty of talent, Mina. But my concern is how much of that talent is going to be on the field, at least relative to how often they were on the field a year ago. The Eagles were one of the healthiest offenses in football. They did lose Jalen Hurts, of course, for a couple games. Dallas Goedert missed some time, but Miles Sanders, their starting running back, was healthy all year. Top 2 wide receivers were healthy all year. And that offensive line, we know how much the Eagles put into the offensive line and how good it is. Those 5 starters up front missed a total of just 3 starts all season. So the Eagles were able to dominate teams up front with their blocking, with their run blocking, their pass protection. They gave Jalen Hurts time to throw. We know that's the core of what they do on every single offensive concept they run. So my concern is if the Eagles are more banged up, do they have the depth on offense, especially after paying Jalen Hurts so much money this past season.
Who came up with the term tush push? Where did that start?
Becoming my favorite word. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, I've heard you say it 16 times in the show.
Believe it's Callan Collar of The Athletic came up with Tush Push. So
I mean, it's unbelievable. You've really embraced it. First of all, I'd love to see the brainstorming session and what the other options were, because we really seem to
I think
really
we should get a Tush Push jar. We're going to have a Tush Push jar here.
Anyway, carry on. I didn't hear anything else you said after
Is that all you have to say?
Yeah, that's all I have to say.
That's it. Okay, well, in games that Jalen Hurts started last season, the Eagles' offense averaged 28.4 points per game, most in the NFL. The Tush Push works every time, you know? All right, how about this quote from Goddard? I think Jalen has to be at the top. You can say he's got good talent around him. He's a dog. He's really good, and I think he should be top 3, top 2. It's hard to take anything away from Patrick. Now you go down the list, and there's probably 10 quarterbacks that could be in the top 5, and it depends on what fan base you are. But personally speaking, Jalen is top 2. Now,
thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.